It's a story of good comes with bad. If there's good, there's always bad. And it's related to um, artificial intelligence. But just the thought that popped up in me is about one of the koan. Let's start from that one. There was a guy, perhaps somewhere in the middle of, I don't know where. Perhaps there's a river, there's a house, there's a tree around, and then in the evening he heard someone coming to the door and asking if she could stay overnight. She was just beautiful, so the story goes. And this guy got so happy, said, sure, please come in. And she said, though, that I'm always with my sister. Can she come in? And he said, no problem. Please bring her in. And she said, come on to the sister. And this lady was the ugliest of all the women one can imagine. Well, that's the story, so I have to say it that way. And I don't remember the end of the koan. Maybe that was the end of it. So the koan is something like, well, if you are in that position, what do you do? So that's the thought that popped up when I had the problem with AI. When I got into AI, was it 3 years ago? I was fascinated so that I can retrieve all the information I want and even ask more and more, and they can talk to me, explain, and I can dig in, for example, about Zen. And I was happy for that for a while, maybe not long, maybe a few weeks. And I keep using what's the limit, as if I got the new tool, so I better find out what to do. And eventually, I even got the case, there was some legal issue I had to deal with, fairly complex, and in New Zealand, and the issue was about the business law, and I dug into it too. This the one was with GPT. Feeling confident and also saving time instead of lawyers, I dug into it. And there are lots of reporting and summarizing and posting so that the data can explain the nature of the issue that I can talk about and send it to the appropriate agency. We did that, and they threw us back that certain things was missing. Okay, so I asked the GPT, why did we miss? I don't remember the detail. Anyway, we followed that instruction, thinking that on my end, well, maybe GPT didn't look at it. He may have overlooked this issue. And we prepared again to adjust this document following what they say and post it again, send it to them. And I don't know the detail of it anymore, but I guess at the end, it didn't work. It was consuming lots of hours, and then end result was almost like the first answer that they are not going to process it. Okay, so I asked again the GPT, and I don't remember anymore. I thought, okay, I'll let things to take care after I rested. And since then, that was, I don't know, 8 months ago. I haven't touched that because I have other things to do. For example, working with AI in a different field or extending what I have done with GPT in a fairly complex case and digging into it, and I could see what AI can do. So I kept on going, and basically that's the story of AI at that time. But then I have lots of hallucination issues. That problem happens with AI. So I've been very skeptical about, the quality of the job, and my sense was that it's going to improve because they say it's exponentially improving. But in terms of this field, which is not just a simple linear logic, but you need to consolidate various items into one and process it. That's what we do as human. But AI is very one-trick pony. That's what I say. Do one thing, they do it. But if you combine with other things, and relationship of this and that, and the weight, synthesize ideas, new ideas to resolve the difficulty, that skill's not good at it. Even the legal issue, I had to suggest a way to go through the difficulties. One of the ideas called Monte Carlo simulation. I suggested certain way to address the issue, not the traditional, but in a different way. And they could do that. So you have to have the sense of the limit of AI and how much you can use. So the reason why I decided to do this video is with Gemini this time. There was a problem about a month and a half ago, and that was ridiculous. I followed Gemini's direction, and I end up in, what was the result? Let me think. Yeah, right. This is about the identification, to go through something related to the passkey or some such thing, a password related thing. And then there's so many options and there are many branches to go through, and I could go through it, but then I got punished because I did something wrong and I have to wait for 24 hours or 48 hours or something like that. And that was not critical because I have other way of, this is related to the ID, but I have another, like iPhone, to use the email, so I could get by. So I didn't put much emphasis on this and kept on doing and taking time. So after a while, when I have time, I just look into it and talk to Gemini. Okay, I want to get back onto this. And Gemini gave me instruction A, B, C, X, Y, Z, what to follow. And he made a mistake. And he apologized. Similar thing happened in the other issue. That was not ID. I recall there's a case when Gemini apologized 16 times, and the other case was 19 times in about 1 hour and a half. I don't recall the specific example of what that was, but it's all recorded. So this one is related to ID, and with ID, I had the trouble with Apple. And there was a case I shared in the ASH Weekly. These things I thought may be better to be shared so that people can not find a way so that they don't get into that troublesome case. Because AI can hallucinate, and once you get stuck in there, you may be penalized. Like the ID related issue, you have to wait for a week or something. And even that I remembered, but Gemini said, no, we can just do it tomorrow. But I said, it's usually not like that. And he said, he corrected his memory. So AI can be very optimistic. They want to show the shortcut. And this example happened in January. I waited a couple, 3 weeks again for the same ID related issue, and you have to click certain things in certain sequence. So we went through that, and I have the record of the picture I took, so that each step of the way, when there's the option of going this way, that way, I made sure that the Gemini could understand what I'm watching and which one to choose. And I think there are 7 or so number of those snapshots, because I wanted to make sure that we are processing it according to what I should choose. So after doing that, he failed again. So he apologized, and this time I wasn't so happy, less happier than before, less unhappier than before. So I decided, okay, this is another weekly newsletter article, but this time I won't have AI to learn how to deal with it. And the way I thought AI can learn is to summarize all the event, put it into the book and share. And also I said that if we can come up with a corrective action of how to deal with it, I want to send to the management of Alphabet, the Google's parent company. And AI can agree. You are the customer, at least one thing they can do is that you can push them to do something. So he agreed, and we are in the process of doing it. It's like I can think of the quality circle. In the company, things happen, but at the shop floor, also bad things happen. And the people at where the action is form a group, quality circle. In Japan, they call it. And they use their best knowledge to figure out what to do. Because those are the ones they find at the shop floor, and the top management may not know much about what's really is happening because they're more strategy oriented, long term, but there's a hiccup and it can cause lots of trouble. So one of the Japanese way, this is back in 40, 50 years ago, developed this idea of the quality cycle. There's Dr. Deming visiting Japan and introduced the idea of rational way of solving problem, and the Japanese took it to address it, not at the top level, but total quality control for the whole company, but the emphasis is also at the shop floor for people to utilize their talent. So this is like a Zen Koan I talk about, utilizing the best of our skill in Japanese way. And that's the reason why I went to the US to promote those ideas, the importance of the shop floor, empowerment, self-managing, mini company idea, glass ball management, and writing books, and also connecting to the heart. Not just the top management deciding what to do without incorporating people's talent so that everything works. So that's a little bit of background, but the same situation seemed to happen at the artificial intelligence. When things happen, like in my case here, there are problems. And I asked Gemini, is this problem very common? I don't remember the exact word, but he said very common too. Millions of people have problem because this is something related to Apple and Google interface. So 2 big companies trying to find the balance, and Apple doesn't want Google to do things as they wish. Maybe there are some issues like that. But nevertheless, the customers are the ones who are penalized, like in this case, because Apple has ID, and their ID is very strict, and I have problem because I travel different countries, and that caused a red flag because I'm in the US, I'm in New Zealand or Japan or someplace else. Anyway, I was wondering if this is just me special case, but it sounded like fairly common. And that's why I'm pointing this to share about the good and bad, and referring to the Zen Koan of this beautiful lady and ugly lady come together. That's one way to think about it, isn't it? I talked about the enemy in the last video or previous to that. That was related to Matsushita talking about enemies may be important. That will give us the way to learn how to not to do certain things or what to do. And if you don't have any enemy, that's not necessarily good for your own growth and satisfaction to utilize what you've got. So, good and bad, enemy or friend. But you cannot have everything but relate to whatever the situation we get, find the passage. AI is producing such opportunity. Personally, I'm not happy, but I'm happy in the other direction, that I can do this, bringing the heart into AI. And there's no clear future, but if there's a will, there's a way. So I'm working on it. But I'll also put these examples that I shared into the book, which mainly is written by AI, because I want AI's ownership instead of me telling what to do. I'm guiding and giving the cases and share so that the AI, like this case, Gemini did write up a newsletter article for LinkedIn on the case about a month ago. So I asked again. This is another one, on top of the other one, continuation, not getting better. But we don't have to damage ourselves. Things happen. Be prepared. Be resilient. And learn and grow. If there's no enemy, if everything is convenient, who knows what we do? I posted the video about hearing the sound of wind chime. Today, not much wind, so we cannot hear it. But when we are doing something, and now I can hear the cicada, maybe you can too, or wind chime, and beautiful sound, and it penetrates through the air. Even without that, I can feel it. The life goes on. And it's a beautiful thing. Even in the middle of the difficulties, our body is functioning as if telling me, you find a way. Anti-entropic force. Have a calm and quiet mind. No self. No ego. Bring out wisdom and compassion. So let's make it possible to move on, given the difficulties. I'm coming up with this book, and something related to that was possibly a letter to the CEO of Google or Alphabet. We'll see. If there's a will, there's a way. Thank you.